He walked up to the microphone at training camp, and before he said a single word about football, he said the thing that everyone in that room was waiting to hear. It was a fun off-season, man. And then he paused, and smiled, and said 8 words that will probably be the first line of every Travis Kelce story for the rest of 2026. Wedding was the best night of my life. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the entirety of what Travis Kelce, in his first public comments about his wedding to Taylor Swift, gave the reporters at the Kansas City Chiefs training camp on Wednesday, August 12, 2026, 40 days after the most famous private ceremony in recent American history took place inside Madison Square Garden. 8 words. Definitive. Warm. Unfussy. No attempt to describe the 5-story glowing trees or the custom Dior gowns or the 20-minute vows from Gold Books or Paul McCartney breaking a 62-year silence. No reference to Adam Sandler's performance or Stevie Nicks or the AMC CEO who posted and then deleted the only real-time account of the evening. Just, wedding was the best night of my life. And then he thanked people. And then he said it was crazy. And then he said it was full of celebration. And then, and this is the most Travis Kelce thing possible, the sentence that completes the portrait perfectly, he said, but it's football, baby. Football, baby. 4 words. The pivot. The return. The reminder of where we are and what we're doing here. He gave the wedding its 8 words of perfect description, and then he called an audible and ran back to the end zone he knows best. This is the complete story of the first time Travis Kelce spoke publicly about his wedding. And the layers of it, the childhood dream he mentioned, the joke about the air conditioning, the specific detail about his wife attending an NBA game he couldn't go to, the way he thanked the owners of Madison Square Garden, are worth going through one by one. Because there is more inside this press conference than the headline captures. Let's start with the childhood dream. Because here is what most people who heard Travis Kelce describe his wedding as living out my childhood dream of being in that venue probably assumed. They assumed he meant getting married. That he had always dreamed of having a big wedding. That Madison Square Garden was the venue he imagined for his most important life moment. That is not what he said. He said, I always told myself I'd go for a playoff game when the Knicks were rocking. He wanted to go to a Knicks game. That was the childhood dream. The mecca of all sports venues, his phrase, the building where some of the most significant moments in American sports history have taken place, where championships have been won and lost, where boxing legends fought and basketball dynasties rose and fell. Madison Square Garden was in Travis Kelce's head since he was a kid in Ohio because it is in every American sports fan's head. It is the building. The one. And he had been trying to get there for years. He had promised himself he would attend a Knicks playoff game. He was waiting for the moment when the Knicks were rocking, competitive, alive, in the playoffs, playing the kind of basketball that fills that building with a specific electricity that makes it the mecca. The Knicks were rocking in 2026. They won the NBA championship. And one of the games, Game 4 of the NBA Finals, was the game where cameras found Taylor Swift in the crowd at Madison Square Garden, wearing a shirt that said, Stevie Nicks, and cheering from her seat, months before she got married there. Travis Kelce was not at that game. He was stuck in minicamp. NFL minicamp. The mandatory spring obligation that kept him in Kansas City while his then-fiancée was at the most exciting game of the NBA season in the building he had always wanted to attend. He said it at the press conference, with the specific rueful humor of a sports fan who got the details of the dream slightly wrong. My wife went when I was stuck in minicamp. I didn't get my opportunity to go then. My wife. First time at the podium calling Taylor Swift his wife. In a sentence about the NBA Finals. So he never made it to a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden. He missed the moment by being at minicamp. But then, in a sequence of events that is so perfectly Travis Kelce that it almost needs to be fictional to be believable, he got married there instead. He didn't get his Knicks game. He got a wedding at the mecca of all sports venues. In a secret garden built on the arena floor, with 5-story glowing trees and 1,000 guests and Paul McCartney singing. He got his childhood dream delivered in a form that was not what he imagined when he was a kid in Ohio. But it was the building. And it was the night. It's kind of cool to be able to live out my childhood dream of being in that venue, he said. The mecca of all sports venues. Being able to get married there. He thanked the owners of MSG, specifically and publicly. I can't thank the owners of MSG enough for allowing us to get the opportunity to do that, knowing we wanted a private event, and it was perfect. That thank you is notable, because getting married at Madison Square Garden is not a normal request. This is not a venue that typically hosts weddings. It is a venue that hosts Knicks games, and Rangers games and boxing matches and concerts and WWE events and Disney on Ice. The logistics of converting it into a secret garden for 2 days, of shutting down the arena floor and rebuilding it as a romantic venue, of managing the security and the street closures and the 135 NYPD officers, all of that required the cooperation of the venue's ownership at every step. Travis thanked them at a football press conference 6 weeks later, because that is who he is. And then he said the thing that made everyone in the room laugh. The thing that revealed, in 5 words, that Travis Kelce has not lost his specific brand of big, uncomplicated charm even after the most spectacular wedding in recent memory. And the AC was cooking, baby. That was the best part. The air conditioning. In New York City. During a historic heat wave. The first week of July 2026 brought triple-digit temperatures to Manhattan. The kind of heat that makes the concrete radiate warmth long after the sun has gone down. The kind of heat that turns Times Square into a slow-moving oven. And inside Madison Square Garden, which has industrial-grade climate control capable of maintaining ice for hockey games, it was cool. Whatever the temperature outside, whatever the heat dome pressing down on the city, inside the secret garden at MSG it was comfortable. The AC was cooking. That was the best part. Not Paul McCartney. Not the Dior gowns. Not the gold books or the 20-minute vows or the sweep-you-off-your-feet kiss. Not the 5-story trees. Not the 1,100 guests or the cherry-red 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport that someone won in a raffle. The air conditioning. In a heat wave. That was the best part. This is why Travis Kelce is loved the way he is loved. Not just by football fans and not just by Swifties, but by the overlapping Venn diagram of everyone who has been paying attention to this relationship for 3 years. Because in a situation that any other celebrity would have used to make a grand statement, to craft the perfect, carefully worded public acknowledgement of the most important event of their life, Travis Kelce walked up to a microphone at a training camp press conference and said the best part of the wedding was the air conditioning. He is not performing for the press conference. He is just being himself. The same self that went on a podcast in July 2023 and told the world he got turned away trying to give friendship bracelets to a pop star because he thought he knew a guy. The same self that knelt in a Kansas garden with sweaty palms and a few tears and asked the question with his whole heart. The same self that wept through the Gold Book vows. The same self that showed up onto the stage at the end of the Eras tour and shouted, "Tay Tay," as she came off the stage dolly. He is that person. At the press conference. In the mustache. In the gold ring. With the training camp notebook open and the football season starting and the reporters waiting for answers about the NFL. He gave them 8 words. Then he thanked the guests. Then he thanked MSG. Then he joked about the AC. Then he said, "But it's football, baby." Now let's talk about the specifics of what he said and what he didn't say. Because the press conference itself was remarkably brief on the subject of the wedding, deliberately brief, with that specific Kelce efficiency of saying exactly enough and then pivoting, and there are things he chose not to say that are as interesting as the things he said. He didn't say who performed. He confirmed no performers. He offered no details about what happened during the ceremony or the reception. He did not describe the decor or the vows or the food or the raffle or the vintage car. He did not name Adam Sandler as the officiant. That had been confirmed by Taylor's publicist in the immediate aftermath of the wedding, but he did not confirm it himself from the podium. What he confirmed, from his own words, the wedding was the best night of his life. He is grateful to everyone who came. He loved getting married at Madison Square Garden. He is grateful to the venue's ownership. And the air conditioning was excellent. Everything else, still protected. Still held. Still his and Taylor's to share or not share on their own terms and in their own time. When reporters pushed, and reporters always push, he was gracious and firm simultaneously. "That's about all I really got from that night," he said. Which is either the world's most relaxed deflection or a genuinely accurate description of a man who experienced something so extraordinary that the ability to translate it into press conference language hasn't fully developed yet. Both are probably true. There is a larger story inside this press conference moment that goes beyond the wedding quotes. Because Travis Kelce was at a training camp press conference. And what training camp press conferences are about, what they are supposed to be about, what the reporters are actually there to ask about, is football. And he said, "But it's football, baby." He is here. He is ready. He said his body feels ready to rock and roll for the 2026 season. He is going into his 14th year as a professional football player, heading toward his 37th birthday in October, wearing a gold wedding band on his left hand and the El Travador mustache on his face and the specifically focused energy of a person who has spent the summer, through a wedding and a honeymoon and Italian lessons and daily workouts with his wife and training in Florida at Johnny O's gym with Chris Carter and Andrew Spruill, preparing for this. The season opener is September 14th, 2026. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Denver Broncos, Monday Night Football at Arrowhead Stadium. The first game of Travis Kelce's 14th and possibly final season. The first game he plays as a married man. The first game in a gold ring. He has said he is still in love with the game. He has said, "Let's make another run at it, baby." He has said his body is ready to rock and roll. And now, at the podium, with the wedding acknowledged in the most compact and perfect possible way, he has redirected the entire press conference to football. Because that is what this is. August. Training camp. The beginning of the preparation for a championship run. And the championship is what he is here to discuss. But here is what the press conference also confirmed, beyond all the football talk. It confirmed that Travis Kelce, 1 month removed from the most spectacular wedding in recent memory, is genuinely, completely, without any apparent complication, happy. Wedding was the best night of my life. Not the most important night. Not the most surreal night. Not the most overwhelming night or the night with the most famous guests or the night with the air conditioning in a heat wave. The best. The singular superlative. One night above all others. This man has won 3 Super Bowls. He has played in more of the biggest games in NFL history than almost anyone in the sport. He has caught touchdown passes in overtime on the most watched television broadcasts in American history. He has performed in front of tens of millions of people simultaneously in moments of genuine athletic greatness. He has lived a professional life that most athletes can only dream of. And the best night of his life was July 3rd, 2026. Inside Madison Square Garden. In the secret garden. With the gold books and the 20-minute vows and the sweep you off your feet kiss. With Paul McCartney. With Stevie Nicks. With Adam Sandler, who told him to kiss his wife every chance he gets. With Jason Kelce as best man and Austin Swift as man of honor and 4 little flower girls who are Jason's daughters, including 15-month-old Finley. And with the air conditioning. Which was cooking. Which was the best part. He said it directly and moved on. That is the whole thing. That is everything Travis Kelce will give you about July 3rd from a football podium. 8 words and a joke and a pivot. And those 8 words and that joke and that pivot tell you everything you need to know about who he is. The best night of his life. Full of celebration. The AC was great. But it's football, baby. There is one more detail from this press conference that has not been discussed enough. One detail that is small and lands gently and is, in its own way, as revealing as anything else he said. He called Taylor his wife. Not his partner. Not Taylor. Not my fiancée now wife. He said, "My wife went when I was stuck in minicamp." The most natural possible usage. Possessive pronoun, relationship noun. No fanfare, no announcement, no moment made of it. My wife. The way you say it when it is simply what is true, when the word has settled into your vocabulary in the way that true things settle. My wife. Travis Kelce, at a Kansas City Chiefs training camp press conference on August 12, 2026, in a sentence about the NBA Finals, became the first time he said those words publicly. And he said them in the most casual, unremarkable way possible. As if the word had always been in his vocabulary. As if calling Taylor Swift his wife at a football podium was not a seismic cultural event, but just the natural language of describing his life. Which, of course, it is. It is just the natural language. She is his wife. He is her husband. They bake bread and learn Italian and work out together every day and care for 3 cats and a Samoyed and call each other baby on the phone. The word is not the event. The wedding was the event. The word is just the sound of the new normal. My wife. On a football podium. In August. With the mustache and the ring. There are things still unreleased about this wedding. No official photos. Taylor has said she will share them on Instagram on her own time, and the world is waiting. The ceremony remains, photographically speaking, sealed. Not one unauthorized image from inside the actual ceremony has appeared anywhere. The NDAs held. The phone ban worked. Whatever the five-story trees looked like, and whatever Taylor looked like in the Jonathan Anderson Dior gown, and whatever the gold books looked like open on the lectern, none of that exists publicly yet. What exists is a wedding ring on a tight end's left hand. A press conference on a Wednesday in August. 8 words. A joke about air conditioning. A quick thank you to MSG ownership. The words, my wife, said with the ease of someone who has practiced them only 40 days and already sounds like they have been saying them forever. And then, but it's football, baby. He is back. He is ready. He told them his body feels ready to rock and roll. He told them it's football. He pivoted from the best night of his life to the 14th season of his career in a single sentence. Because this is who he is. He loves fully. He plays fully. He is fully present in all of it simultaneously. The husband who calls his wife the best part of his life. The athlete who pivots back to football before the next question is even asked. The man who went to a ceremony in a secret garden and the AC was cooking and it was the best part. Taylor Swift has not yet spoken publicly about the wedding. Her name has been spoken by everyone else, by George Stephanopoulos on GMA, by Robin Roberts, by Mike Vrabel at a Patriots press conference, by Donna Kelce at the fireworks show, by Rich Eisen at a golf tournament in Nevada, by Travis Kelce at training camp. Everyone who was there has said something. And she has said nothing. She is in a kitchen learning Italian, or she is in a gym doing power walks with her husband, or she is somewhere building the next album in the private creative space she carved out after the Eras tour ended. But when she speaks about it, and she will speak about it, in whatever form she chooses, on whatever timeline she chooses, she will have the benefit of having heard what Travis said first. The best night of my life. That's about all I really got from that night. It was a crazy night. Full of celebration. And the AC was cooking. She will probably not describe it quite this way. She will probably find words that are more specific and more emotionally precise and more lyrically constructed than, wedding was the best night of my life. She is the English teacher. She has a larger vocabulary for this kind of thing. But the feeling underneath it, the feeling that Travis's 8 words describe as well as any words possibly could, is the same feeling. The same love. The same certainty. The same sense of a thing being right in a way that earns the word, best. And somewhere in a kitchen, probably, she heard the press conference clip. And she smiled. My wife. The best night of my life. But it's football, baby. Stay with us. Because the season starts September 14th. And we will be right here for every moment of what comes next. But before we leave this press conference entirely, let me tell you one more thing. One thing that has been sitting quietly in the corner of this story, waiting to be acknowledged, and that Travis Kelce confirmed by the very fact of standing at that podium and calling it the best night of his life. The childhood dream was real. Not the wedding, specifically. He had not always dreamed of getting married at Madison Square Garden. He dreamed of being in Madison Square Garden the way every American sports fan dreams of being in it. As a cathedral. As the Mecca. As the place where the biggest things happen. Madison Square Garden has hosted some of the most significant sporting events in American history. The fight of the century, between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier in 1971. The Knicks championship seasons. Hockey that people are still talking about decades later. Wrestling events that defined the pop culture of entire eras. Boxing matches that stopped the country. Concerts from the Rolling Stones and Frank Sinatra and Led Zeppelin and Billy Joel. Events that, in the collective memory of American sports and entertainment culture, are inseparable from the building itself. Travis Kelce grew up wanting to be in that building. He grew up in Ohio, watching sports, dreaming about athletic greatness, and understanding that the greatest athletes eventually end up at Madison Square Garden one way or another. It is the gravitational center of American sporting ambition. He made it to 3 Super Bowls. He played in Arrowhead and Lambeau and MetLife and every major stadium in the NFL. He never made it to a Knicks game at MSG. And then, on July 3, 2026, he got married there. In a secret garden. On the arena floor. With the sound system that has hosted the greatest performers alive, playing music for his reception. With the lights that have illuminated championships, illuminating 5-story glowing trees. With the air conditioning that keeps hockey ice frozen, keeping his wedding guests comfortable in a July heat wave. He did not get the Knicks game. He got something better. He got the best night of his life. And now he is at training camp. The season starts in 5 weeks. Patrick Mahomes is healthy and ready. Andy Reid is on the sideline in the mustache that Travis honors every August by wearing his own version of it. The Kansas City Chiefs are preparing for what Travis called another run at it. And on his left hand, the ring. The thick gold ring from Kindred Lubeck, the jeweler who engraves gold by hand. The ring that Chris Carter photographed at Johnny O's gym in Florida and captioned "The Last Dance" in capital letters, which Travis has neither confirmed nor denied, because he prefers to let the season speak rather than announce its conclusion in advance. Whatever this season is, the last dance or the penultimate chapter or the opening of something new, it begins on September 14th. With the gold ring. With the El Travador mustache. With the body that feels ready to rock and roll. With the marriage that produced the best night of his life. And with those 8 words. The 8 words that the reporters at training camp got, and that is all they got, and that is everything they needed. Wedding was the best night of my life. But it's football, baby. Stay close.